Security, privacy are the things that cannot be missed in our lives because many criminal cases still occur frequently to this day. According to Indonesian Bureau of Statistics Center, the number of crimes in Indonesia in 2023 reached up to 584,991 cases.
Hello, I am Muhammad Fathan and here's my partner.
Oruzgan Abimanyu. We are two young researchers from SMA Online Rush. In order to solve those problems,
Let us introduce CCAT is a system to identify the characteristic of an object, especially humans, with Wi-Fi signals. Using a method called Wi-Fi sensing and combined with a machine learning algorithm, in a sense, the system will be able to read human gestures and characteristics only using Wi-Fi signals.
by using Wi-Fi signals to identify people, it does not depend on light intensity. And since Wi-Fi is already common around us, and the cheap cost of ESP32, the cost of security systems can be more efficient than today's conventional security systems.
In this research, we will find out about first, how to collect the GSI data with the ESP32 microcontroller. Second, how human physical features can affect the signal interruption. Third, how to extract and process the GSI data to identify each individual. And last, is it possible to use the GSI data as an effective way to classify the individuals? And the purpose of the research are first, explain how to retrieve and obtain the GSI data from an ESP32 microcontroller. Second, explain whether physical differences in humans greatly affect changes in the GSI signal on Wi-Fi. Third, explaining how to process GSI data so that it can be used as a tool to identify an individual. And lastly, proving whether the use of GSI data is effective as a tool to identify an individual. We start our research in November 2024 until February 2025 in SMA UNGGULAN RUSHD.
We use the ADDIE model to develop our technology in this research. The A stands for analysis, D for design and developed, I for implementation, and E for evaluation. The advantage of this model are the steps are concise, and it could be done with a relatively short period of time. But however, this method could cover all the aspects of research method. According to our analysis, we found that our conventional security system still has some limitation, such as the first one, the CCTV. It has a privacy concern, limited visibility, built light conditions requires high electricity usage, and it is expensive. For NFC, it requires the user's action to use it, and loss of user's ID issues. For the last one, the GPS. It sometimes cannot work in some places. Therefore, an effective security system must be designed to integrate with various technologies, utilize machine learning algorithms, and use low-cost tools to increase effectiveness, maintaining privacy, and reduce dependencies on users.
Based on our analysis, we designed a human identification system using Wi-Fi signals. So here's how it works. A transmitter in the form of a Wi-Fi router and an ESP32 as a receiver are placed opposite each other. The area between the transmitter and receiver will be the main sensor area, where the signal will be reflected and disturbed by the human physical features. The ESP32 will be connected to a computer, so that the GSI data, which is the status information of the Wi-Fi signal, will be classified based on individual data trained using machine learning.
In our development process, the CSI data that has been retrieved by the ESP32 will be sent via USB cable to the laptop for further processing. This data will only be proceed when all the required data has been retrieved. The CSI will be extracted from the ESP32 receiver by utilizing the ESP-IDF framework and saved in CSV format. In the pre-processing stage, the amplitude value will be extracted from each CSI data containing the complex number, after which the DWT or discrete Wave transform algorithm is used to remove the noises. To classify the data based on each individual, a machine learning model is needed to classify each CSA data. First, one class SVM is used to detect abnormal data patterns. This stage aims to detect whether an individual is known or unknown, and then multi-class SVM will be applied on the known data. This algorithm will classify CSI data based on known individuals.
To measure the effectiveness of the developed system, we implement our system in an experiment involving 10 volunteers. The 10 people will stand between the TX and RX in turn to collect the required SI data. The data will go through a pre-processing phase and will be divided into two datasets, which is training the dataset for 70% of all the data and 30% for the testing data. After the dataset is formed, the model will be trained based on the dataset. The developed one-class SVM model can identify intruders quite well. The model gets 84% for true positive and 90% for true negative. However, there are still some classification errors, such as false positive of 10% and false negative of 16%. And then, the classification results of the 10 volunteers show accuracy varying from 89% to 100% in the confusion matrix. Volunteers 2, 3, and 10 achieved 100% accuracy. In contrast, the model had difficulty distinguishing volunteers 7 and 8, with 84% accuracy for individual 8 and 15% misclassification to individual 7, because they have almost the same physical features. This suggests that height and weight affect Wi-Fi signal propagation patterns.
Thank you for listening our presentation. Let's make a better world.